Al Smith dinner, huh? The Al Smith dinner. I think that in terms of the cult of personality kind of campaigns that the United States believes in, is the Al Smith dinner showed us more of who these people are than the debates did. Okay? And so you get to see who they are, what their values are. When a person makes a joke, you see what they think is, what they think is real and what isn't real. Anyways, I went ahead and it was Facebook, but I live Facebooked it, and I wanted to talk to you about the jokes. What were the jokes that were said? And there was a lot of good zingers, man. So Hillary Clinton said about Rudy Giuliani that he started out as a prosecutor in New York prosecuting rich folks who wouldn't pay their taxes. Hint, 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 like Donald Trump. But as the saying goes, if you can't beat him, then go on Fox News and call him a genius. And Rudy Giuliani was pissed about that. He was like, "What? How dare her say something about me? I am untouchable. I am beyond reproach." So, the Al Smith dinner, this is going to be a little choppy because I'm reading off my wall here. But I thought it was pretty funny. When I watch these goddamn media pundits, they are so fucking partisan, man. God damn it. I used to like Lawrence O'Donnell, just one example, but he was sitting there saying that during the debate with Donald Trump, one of the best moments as a liberal that Donald Trump had during the Republican debates, when he says, your brother ruined this country, when he was shitting all over Jeb Bush. And he says, 9/11 happened under your brother's watch. And then they were trying to boo him as if he was being disrespectful, and then he said that he had hundreds of friends who had died in the World Trade Centers. So maybe not personal friends, but if you're a friend of humanity, and you can't criticize, 9/11 did happen under Bush. People got pissed off about Benghazi being under Obama. How dare he, he didn't do it. He didn't cause that terrorist attack that happened over in Libya. So it happened in another country, in another continent, across the Atlantic Ocean, and somehow he's supposed to be responsible for Benghazi, but George Bush isn't responsible for 9/11, which happened on our own soil after he got that, that memo saying the Bin Laden is determined to invade in the United States. So the Lawrence O'Donnell, he had said that, that was a lie. It wasn't 100 friends. He didn't have 100 friends, and I called him out on it. And I heard Rachel Maddow said, "Man, his jokes just fell flat. He just absolutely lost." Even Cenk Uygur, when he mentioned that Trump responded when she called him a puppet of Putin, he says, "No, you're the puppet." And I don't know if it was a Putin, but of Wall Street, she definitely is. And then Cenk was like, "Oh, got him. You called me a puppet. I called you a puppet." Yes. That's equal. That's fair and balanced, right? That's you say some bad shit about me, I say some bad shit about you. And I don't like either one of these establishment assholes, okay? So I enjoyed this roast. It was a mild roast, gentle jabs. They were self-deprecating. They made fun of themselves, and then they made fun of each other, and they also got some boos. So I think both of their performance, they were equal. They both were equally. They're not comedians, but I thought it was a pretty decent performance. But these partisans, man, they act like one just kicked the other's ass and the other one was just horrible. It's like, Jesus Christ. That's one good thing about being for Jill Stein is I get to stay with, I get to have an objective perspective. I believe that, I'm not going to say what I believe. Maybe I'll mention at the end, okay? So she's a Methodist. I didn't know that Hillary Clinton was a Methodist, and it turns out Methodists are a Baptist, a sect, a cult of Baptists who hate the other Baptist. And that was just some information I didn't know. Let's see here. One good joke Hillary had, she said Donald was as healthy as a horse, the one that Putin rides around on. That's good, man. That stings, because they're like butt buddies, right? He wants to be best friends with Putin, and ultimately, I do think that's some cooperation. That mutual aid and cooperation. It's not the survival of the fittest. It's the way we survive is mutual aid and cooperation. That's how Syria will be solved. Just like what Gary Johnson said. Everyone was like, "You don't know what Aleppo." No, he doesn't. Maybe he didn't know what Aleppo was, but you know what he didn't know? The solution to the Syrian conflict. And you just had, I want to say Gorbachev. Gorbachev is the one, you know, that gets blamed for the Soviet Union disintegrating. He was the one that opened up to capitalism and democracy. He started the talks. And, you know, so if he could get credit for ending the Cold War, but he'll also get credit for the Soviet Union collapsing underneath of him. So anyways, he understands the Cold War. He understands the danger, the inherent danger that you have when you have two nuclear you know, states that are opposed to each other. But he says that the Syrian conflict has put the United States and Russia closest to a civil war, to the Cold War. You know, he's saying that nuclear war is closest now than it's ever been. He was right there in the middle of this shit, and he's saying nuclear war is, you know, close today. Today it's close. And so I think that's pretty scary. If the United States goes into Syria and bombs any targets, the Russians have said that they're going to blow our planes out of the sky, and Hillary Clinton is talking about a no-fly zone. So she's talking about amping up the pressure. You know, she's talking about making the shit worse. But I guess what? Be tough, and then we're just going to see how all this shit unravels. This is another Vietnam. This is a civil war with Syria. So many different groups, so many jihadists and the governments, and just it's hard to figure out. And again, we're on the wrong side. We give these rebels weapons, and they're such assholes. So I think it's a good joke because it's saying that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are too cozy together, which I think is a fair criticism. But then I also think that Hillary and Obama haven't been cozy enough. There's a balance here, right? If we want to end this, let's do some cooperation and stop with the bullshit. You know, if anything, someone made the comparison to the Spanish Civil War. They're trying to stop fascism. Putin is leading the world in stopping fascism. And we want to, what do we want to implement? What the fuck does our government want to do? You know, what do we want to do with Syria in the first place? You had that General Wesley Clark who said that we want to invade like 7 different countries, right? And Syria was one of them. And here we are in Syria. And what are we trying to do? It's it's a new world order. We're just trying to expand the empire, try to get some military bases, probably get a pipeline there, get some oil. And guess what? The world knows what the fuck we're doing, and they don't want us to do it. But the American people, I don't know. I think there's a couple people that's like, hey, let's not do some more. But it's pretty quiet over here. It's pretty quiet. It's like, oh, let's just vote for Hillary so that she can amp up this Cold War, and maybe we'll all die of, nuclear mutual assured destruction. Maybe another World War III will happen. So, funny joke, but the implications are pretty dire. So, yeah. The performance enhancer drug that Hillary used at last night's debate was preparation. Because Donald said beforehand that she's probably on drugs. We need to get her drug tested. And you know what? We should drug test these politicians. They want to enact a war on drugs and fuck over so many people's lives, fatten up our prisons, take away our own personal rights to our bodies. We don't have the right to privacy. Well, I mean, all of our freedoms are being fucking taken. What freedom do we have? Just thinking about the whole Syrian conflict, it almost seems like we are a tribalistic nation and the fascists are in control. The authoritarian fascists are in control. They don't give a shit if, neighbors are robbing each other and beating each other. That's a civil matter. But don't you dare backtalk the authoritarian fascists because they will fuck your life up. So that was a good joke. Preparation. She did prepare. He doesn't prepare. And so that's the performance-enhancing drug she said she used. She also said that it takes a village to write her jokes because she's not a funny person. And that's funny, man. That is, she has a book, that takes a village. She pronounced the dais as a dais. So I don't know if she doesn't know how to pronounce it or if I've been pronouncing it wrong or what's that, one woman, I've watched Comedy Central Roast, and so there was that really raunchy big woman, I forget her name, but she's like, and here on the dais, and they always said dais. So that's not a joke, just an observation. Hillary admitted that mainstream Republicans are Hillary supporters, so that's another thing. You guys are conservative Democrats, and you're supporting right-wing fascists. You're supporting the fucking... She is Mitt Romney in drag, and then the Republicans have gone insane. So the Democratic Party is now the Republican Party, and there's no party for the working class. There's no party for the people to actually, put the pressure on Goldman Sachs and the war machine and, to stop the war on drugs and all the rest. So that was another observation. She admitted that the mainstream Republicans are Hillary supporters. Hillary just said it takes a village to write this jokes for her. Hillary said that Donald's assessment of the Statue of Liberty is a 4, insinuating he's a sexist, like out of 10. The Statue of Liberty is 4. She's actually, she seems like she's got a pretty face. And she's like, if she would just fix her hair, lose the torch, and lose the, the tablets or something, which I don't understand that part. Probably if she was naked, right? Wouldn't that up her ante? And then she said that the best number was a 45. And I wonder what that is. The aged 45? Because Hillary's like, what, 70 years old? They're all fucking old. Even like Gary Johnson and Jill's in their 60s. And so I'm not for sure what the 45 joke was. But it was sort of clever, right? Statue of Liberty is a 4 on a scale of 10, kind of pointing out his wanting to rank. And then I saw Breonna Keeler. She was like, that really shows how sexist. Yeah, okay, Breonna, you're a fucking 10. I'm sure you've had a real tough go in the United States, being a beautiful white blonde woman. I'm sure that's been a real tough time for you. She got a good one. She says that she's surprised. Oh, my God, this made me laugh so funny. I mean, God, I was impressed with both of these people. So she's surprised that she gets a chance to speak after dumpers. And that's what shitlers and dumpers. And so Donald Trump is the one who gets the stage, and then she tells the jokes right afterwards. They actually sat right next to each other with the cardinal being right in the middle. And so it was kind of just a visual. It was a good time after this, sort of rancorous debate. I thought it was, I hate to see the elites colluding together like that and being so chummy with one another. I remember George W. Bush made a joke that some people call you the haves, the other people call you the have-mores. So there's the rich and then there's the ultra-rich. And then he says something about, some people call you the elite, but I call you my base. What the fuck? That's almost like when Donald Trump said that wages need to go down. So the elite is George W. Bush's base. Why would any middle class and under person ever vote for somebody that says the elite is your base? I care about what the billionaires want out of America, not what anybody else wants. You're my base. You're my base of support. You're my core supporters. So Donald Trump gets in there, makes jokes, then you get Hillary Clinton gets up there, and then she says that she was actually surprised that she even got to get up there to speak after Donald Trump had spoke, since he's not in favor of a peaceful transfer of power. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. He's sitting there saying that he doesn't, he's not going to concede to the election. Everybody tries to, God damn it, that's another fucking thing. There's some outrageous shit that he said, and they should have been outraged by, but they get outraged by any fucking thing that he says. Oh, he won't concede. He won't concede. Al Gore shouldn't concede. Al Gore should have been president in 2000, but he's such a limp needle dick piece of shit that he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. He conceded it immediately. I disagree with the Supreme Court, but I accept it because you're a little bitch. And you brought in because you're a piece of crap. You picked Lieberman, too, for your running mate. And then you want to blame Ralph Nader. But actually, Pat Buchanan took just as many votes as, Ralph Nader. There's like 500, right? They lost. Anyways, okay. Oh, I think Hillary said something about Donald Trump supporters are a basket of adorables now because they're all dressed up. I think that's what she said. These are all paraphrased. So if you're like, hey, I didn't hear that, then, go ahead and let me know. Because I'll take criticism. If I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me. I won't think you're my friend. Well, maybe you are. I don't know. She called the Cardinal your eminence. Well, your eminence. Jesus Christ. That's too much fucking respect. Mr. President is what the title we give our own leader. And frankly, I think there was a big thing with John Adams. He had, he wanted to call him Your Majesty. He wanted to figure out Your Excellency. What do you call the president? We've just come down to Mr. President. But not Mr. Cardinal. Mr. Cardinal, Mr. fucking pedophile fucking organization. Mr. believing in invisible fucking, men into the clouds as if they're going to do something for us. Tricking a bunch of old ladies into giving up their money and giving them a fake false support, telling them it's a slave religion, shut up. And then they own more land than like any other organization out here. The Catholic Church owns so much land. So that was another observation. Well, your eminence, fuck you, your eminence. Hillary started out real strong. She says she took a break from her rigorous nap schedule. Funny, man, this is funny stuff. And then she also says, and I'm giving you this speech for free. I charge a bunch for speeches like this. Again, self-deprecating humor, making fun of that she sells out to the Goldman Sachs and the Wall Street crowd. And that's exactly what Donald Trump meant by the puppet. She meant he's a puppet of Putin, and then he says you're a puppet of, the Wall Street bunch. So, Hillary's turn, Elite's getting long. I hated it and I liked it. I already said that. I wish Jill Stein would have crashed the party. I'm actually pissed that she didn't get arrested in any of these damn debates. Amy Goodman is raising her ratings up, and maybe somebody might pay attention, but there's only 1 or 2% support, supposedly, with these polls, which I'm sure aren't 100% perfect, but it might give you some indication. It gives me an indication that it's a national election. But the fact that they could take 1% or 2%, you need to speak about my issues, okay? Donald, Hillary, legalize marijuana, and I would seriously consider voting for you because I think there's so much to that. It shows that you believe that I have a right to my own body, that you're progressive, and that you're not a fucking asshole. It also, there's a culture to marijuana, then also it's a sort of dog whistle that we can get other changes. But if you don't do that, fuck you assholes, 1% establishment motherfuckers. So Donald Trump, he says some interesting things about how Hillary secretly hates Catholics, which people got real, but then someone just mentioned I should read what the Podesta emails, what was said about Catholics in the Podesta emails. So these are, fact-based. This is a cantankerous, campaign, and so this being a cantankerous campaign, it would be hard to appeal to both sides of the aisle or the crowd or what have you. So Rachel Maddow was like, he failed. His jokes just fell flat. And really, that both their jokes fell flat and they succeeded. And I laughed really hard at some jokes, which none of the people there laughed at. Remember when Stephen Colbert did his, White House Correspondents' Dinner? Nobody laughed. I bet Rachel Maddow would be like, see, he crashed there. No, he didn't. He was hilarious. People at home thought it was funny. It was like the turning point, for Democrats and liberals. Stephen Colbert's White House Correspondents' Dinner. When Michelle Obama gives this great speech now to the Donald Trump jokes. How much time do I got? 12 minutes, okay? These only can be 30-minute tapes, or 30-minute long. And I'll give you another thing. The reason why I do, this is a cheaper quality, but I can upload this shit real fast, okay? I don't have good internet service, and I could do a better quality video, but I could edit it, and I could put pictures in it, and then I could get it, processed, but I'd have to transfer it and do this and do that, and it takes an hour, and then by the time it's finished, then I upload it, takes another, 4 or 5 hours, and that's if there's no interruptions. It could get corrupted. So much shit could happen. With this, I could do 30 minutes. I tell you the information. You get the information. You hear what I just said. And if you want to watch it, you could watch it, but it might be a little bit slower. I think I'm picking out the juicy points. I think there's some value in what I'm doing here. But this is so easy, this is so quick. I tell you what's up, I loaded it up, and you hear it, and that's communication, right? So if you want to criticize me and you're not putting videos out, go fuck yourself, right? You're not even trying. You could do this, but you don't even want to. You just want to be a judgmental prick. All right, so the Donald Trump jokes. Donald Trump, man, he's got good one-liners, and he kills. He's doing really good, and the media is biased against him. They've already, coronated Hillary Clinton to become president, right? Donald Trump is rough around the edges, but she's fake, and she gives a nice pristine facade, and that pristine facade is what people are going to buy into because American people love the bullshit. They want a Coke and a smile and just don't tell me about your problems, pretend everything is going perfect. And there's something to that, showing that there's stability and that give people faith in the country and all that shit. But, sometimes I wouldn't mind if Hillary just be like, you know what, this is bullshit, and then just lay it down. because frankly, that's real to me. White trash kind of, argument, the Jerry Springer kind of argument, that's real life. And I understand real life more than I understand the diamonds and pearls, the fucking show, the fucking bullshit. I don't want the bullshit. I want the realness. I favor realness over the facade. So Donald Trump jokes. Okay, he says when Michelle Obama gives a great speech, everybody compliments her. She gets all these accolades. But when Melania, my wife, gives the same exact speech, everybody gives her hell. And then he had everybody, had her stand up and have people cheer for her. Then he apologized. I'm not in trouble for that, am I? And then she's like, oh, no, I don't. I'm your pussy. I don't care what you have done or what you say. I got my place guaranteed in this world. So grab whatever pussy you want to grab. And he was like, I didn't even apologize to her. I don't give a damn if I'm bragging about going after, other women when I'm married. I don't give a damn. And people respect this guy. And then they'll want to make fun of Gary Johnson. Why the fuck do people care and respect and look up and admire the Hillary Clinton and Donald Trumps of the world, and then shit on Gary Johnson and Jill Stein? Good, down-to-earth people, decent, gentle. I could not only see myself having a beer, I could see myself smoking a big old bong with, Gary Johnson. And Jill Stein is lovable. She is so wonderful. God, she takes every question that's thrown at her, and very gently, she's like a Kellyanne Conway, kind of person. And she also has this femininity that Hillary Clinton doesn't have. She's got the entitlement of being a woman, but she doesn't have, the loveliness of being a woman. Nah, just give me the privileges. I'm not gonna give back. So yeah, Jill Stein, what an awesome woman, and she's sticking her neck out there, taking the heat. And okay, so. More Donald Trump jokes. How corrupt do you have to be in order to get kicked off the Watergate committee? Good one, man. Watergate was bad, but she couldn't even be on the Watergate committee. Like, oh, man, that's funny. I mean, I don't think that they booed him for that, but I don't even think that's a bad. What is that saying? That's not saying really much of anything. It's just he called her corrupt, and he's pointing out anything that's not that corrupt, but they booed him. So, people are partisan, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised about that. Trump also said he likes Rosie O'Donnell now, so he's like, the more I think about it, I kind of like her. And you know what? That's pretty big. He's had a tweet, actually, that he said where Rosie O'Donnell's crude, rude, obnoxious, and dumb, but other than that, I like her very much. And that's hilarious. That's really funny. So, I mean, he's good with the one-liners. He's good with the jokes. And I'll tell you something about Donald Trump at the end here. Just as a man being in this world, I can resonate with him. He's a 1% plutocrat, and fuck him. I'm a Jill Stein supporter through and through. And, there's good and bad. There's good and bad. I can't make a decision about which one's better. I think they both have a net negative, which is greater than their net positives. They're both trash. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Hillary Clinton. Neither one of these assholes are going to fix what America needs in order to be fixed. Jill Stein is our only hope. The student debt and the moratorium on foreclosures and the war on drugs and the demilitarization of the police and prison reform. There's people that's hurting here. But middle-class Democrats are conservative, and they say, nah, let's hold on to what we got here. I've seen the same election in Kentucky. Last year in Kentucky, you had a progressive who ran against Jack Conway, and everybody said, no, we're going to go with the Jack Conway Democrat, and he was a fake Democrat, pretending to be a Democrat, but he talks about all the conservative ideas. He was for the Patriot Act, for the Bush tax cuts. He was totally for the war on drugs. He was against gay people, prosecuted them up until the last year, and then he, changed his mind just like Hillary did, right? So there's so many comparisons between this corporatist Democrat and Hillary Clinton, and versus the progressive, Jeff Young versus Bernie Sanders. So both of them are saying they're not good enough. We're not going to win with this. We need somebody like, me, and then that effort eventually fails. And then what happens in the general election? Matt Bevin who had a Republican debate. They were fair, they were honest, they were, you know, they treated everybody with respect, and eventually one emerged the victor. Eventually you had Matt Bevin come out, and Matt Bevin eventually beats Jack Conway. So that's, if Kentucky last year is any indication of the United States, Obama won 2 times in a row. So that's why I think it's a national election. I mean, it's people are they're schizophrenic, right? But ultimately, if Kentucky is any indication of what's going to happen to the United States, Donald Trump is going to win. Matt Bevin won our governor's race last year. So is America Kentucky, or is America California? And, you know, I don't know. I think Donald Trump is a Molotov cocktail to the system. And so when it's the racists and the degenerates and the old people, you know, with the member berries, they're a bunch of assholes. But if you were to come up to me and you said, you know what, I don't want a warmonger in the White House, and I think I have a better chance of ending the war or being more peaceful with Donald Trump, you're right. If you come up and you said the TPP is really pissing me off and I don't want the TPP to be passed, you'd be right to vote for Donald Trump if those are your main issues. Another good joke that Donald Trump had, the pardon me. So Hillary ran into Donald and politely said, pardon me. And he said, well, he'll have to talk to her about that after he wins, to pardon her from her crimes. He also made a joke about Hillary laughing at all the wrong moments. I don't know what that joke was, but he did. He said it. She doesn't laugh at the right moments. He's killing it. He said he's got the best formed hands. They body shame the shit out of him, man. It is bad how bad they body shame him. It's always like, oh, he's got little hands, little dick. Look at his hair, look at his face. Fuck him, he's fucking, you know. But then Hillary Clinton, it's almost thanks to I had a discussion here with James, and we were comparing the 2 statues. So both of them were very insulting to the body types of Donald and Hillary. And we're a free country, but with Hillary's statue, people are like crying. Oh my God, with this whole nasty woman, she's a nasty woman comment. Are you not allowed to say that a female is nasty because a female can't be nasty? Oh my God. Females are very nasty. Like, there's a lot of scandalous women out there. I think in every group you're going to have good ones and bad ones. There's great, wonderful females. Like Jill Stein, wonderful. But because I say that there's shitty women out there, I'm going to be a sexist? Get the fuck out of here. In fact, you know, I have so much respect for women who's like, no, you're being a bitch and nobody's going to live with that shit. That's true. And, you know, I think that's, again, I think it's true with every group. So, he talked about God. Donald Trump says, I can compete with God since, you know, no, he didn't say that. I said that. But he was like, he talked about how the Catholic Church has a big property on Fifth Avenue, and he was like, well, you know, I can't really compete with that because you got God, you know, backing you, and you can't compete with God. Well, I can compete with God. You know, I exist, so I can definitely compete with God. And then that's it. So that was all the jokes that I was able to snatch up. And, you know, the statues, I think, are pretty funny. The statues, he's got a stupid-ass butt. He's got a micro-penis, big-ass gut, stupid face with big old hair. And then she had, you know, like big saggy tits, real fat. And then she had like a Wall Street banker groping on her, big bush. Whatever, they both are being insulting. And yet, you know, if you're a partisan hack, you're like, Donald Trump statue, oh, but, you know, Hillary Clinton, how dare they? No, that's a double standard. So either say they're both shitty, but it's free speech, and I think it's, what the fuck, America? You're afraid of free speech? I saw a big old blimp of Angela Merkel naked, and she was like, you know, like doing a weird thing, and she liked some big old perky tits, and I was like, God, maybe she's pretty. And actually, I have so much respect for Angela Merkel, but not Hillary. I don't give a shit about Hillary, man. So this is not a woman thing. This is a corruption thing. It's an elite thing. And so the statue outrage over the statue, people crying. She's a nasty woman. It was like when John McCain said, that one. I don't like that one. That person over there. That guy. And, you know, that's rude. It's disrespectful. But is it racist? Is it sexist? No, I don't feel any racism or sexism. In fact, I don't even think Donald Trump is he might be racist in his heart. I don't know what his heart is. But he's put out a good, he wants to talk about immigration. We should have